The Nigerian Economic Summit Group has raised concerns over the increasing rate of poverty in the country, calling for the promotion of the ideals of gender equality as a tool to address this menace. The chief executive officer of the group made this call at a press conference in Abuja. He cited the disparity between men population in the workforce at 65.5% and women at 52.1%, says fixing this would go a long way to reducing national poverty.
Multidimensional poverty is linked. How we experience it is sequential. Some parts of dimensional poverty have what we call distributive properties. If your mother has it, very likelihood that the next 6 generations will have it is high. Education poverty has that effect. There's a higher probability that if your parents are both illiterate and the child will be an illiterate. And there is a direct correlation between parent illiteracy and child poverty and child health. It is an educated mother that teaches children to wash their hands. It's an educated mother that washes hands before cooking food, right? It's an educated mother that learns the basic hygiene skills that then protects her home from cholera. So when we think of this problem sometimes, this unidimensional lens fails us. Reimagining means we want to bring the tools, the approaches, the methods, the science, the economics, the overall dynamics, the sociology, the political science, the policy, all the multidisciplinary approaches that makes us understand all the dimensions in which Nigerians are poor and all the dimensions by which this poverty has imposed exclusion on women, on persons with disability, and on the most left behind, the most vulnerable in our society. In convening the Gender and Inclusion Summit 2024, asks Nigerians to come together to reimagine pathways. How do we fuse schooling and that reduces health, water poverty simultaneously? How do we locate primary health care centers that automatically solves health, education, and maybe some of the living standard problems? How do we design agricultural solutions that automatically eliminate walk and shock dimensions of poverty? We hope that at the end of this summit, we will at least have new policy proposals, new inclusion social design frameworks, more reimagined ideas that challenge our nation, our policymakers, our business leaders to deliver a new type of model, one in which the pathways out of poverty are not but multidimensional, and not generic but specific. One that addresses the sequence by which one family stays in chronic poverty for 60 years and 3 generations perpetuate it.
Globally, about 1.3 billion people, or 21.7%, live in acute multidimensional poverty, and over half, 644 million, are children under the age of 18. Nearly 85% of persons living with multidimensional poverty are either in sub-Saharan Africa or South Asia. Knowing that Africa is home to a significant proportion of the world's poorest and marginalized populations, then we need to have conversations of how to begin to address gaps, using contextually local-driven solutions. And despite the fact that we see some signs of economic growth happening in different parts of Africa, poverty still remains pervasive, and a large proportion of our population are still living below the poverty line. When we look into our own country, Nigeria, and we look at conversations around multidimensional poverty, lack of access to basic amenities, and that rural-urban differences, even in access to resources, we know that if we're going to make a difference, then we have to begin to rethink how to bring gender, the conversation about gender inclusivity, into conversations about poverty reduction, so that we're reducing the gender equity gap at the same time as we're dealing with issues relating to poverty reduction. We face unprecedented times in Nigeria. We have a weak and non-inclusive economy. We have security challenges, conflicts, climate risks, widening income gaps, food insecurity and inflation have exacerbated rising levels of poverty and inequalities in Nigeria. Addressing poverty in Nigeria cannot be business as usual. Ending poverty, which is goal 1, and reducing inequality, which is goal 10, are part of the Sustainable Development Goals. And a wide range of approaches have been identified to reduce poverty and inequities. The question is, what would work for Nigeria, or what has worked, or what will continue to work for Nigeria? So to design effective poverty reduction programs, it's important to begin to understand the pathways to poverty, evidence-based approaches that work, and the linkage of poverty to multi-sectoral inequities. The intersection of poverty and gender inequity underscores profound challenges that are evident in our country. And some of these challenges have left many families still experiencing severe poverty, aggravated by disparities in access to resources and income. We can learn and adapt from other countries, but by all means, we must respond now to the fierce urgency and act to secure the future of our nation.
This summit is the result of months of hard work and collaboration as expected, providing a platform for exchanging ideas, showcasing innovations, and building new partnerships. It's not a secret that Nigerian women own over 40% of the micro business that we have, with 23 million female entrepreneurs, placing Nigeria among the highest entrepreneur rates globally, and that's already surpassed the 21% global average. However, despite these amazing numbers, societal and cultural barriers won't stop preventing them from achieving the optimal results. Some of these barriers include the gender violence, limited education, as well as the prevalent slavery that's hindered women's progress in achieving the optimal result we should get from all of these amazing numbers.